It's movie time. It's gonna review a movie. Yeah. Gonna review a movie trailer now with Joe. Welcome back. It's time for another movie review. Highlander. So they've made, I'm just gonna talk about 4 of the Highlander films. If they made more after that, I have no idea. I gave up after 4. The first Highlander film, I think, came out, it was filmed in 1986. So it probably came out towards the end of 86. Highlander 1 is in the top 10 movies of all time. Guy movies of all time. It's definitely in the top 10. It's not in the top 4. It's probably... it might be in the top 6. It's that good. Highlander is about immortals who live on through the centuries, and when they come across each other, they fight each other because they will win a prize of their soul, and they become as strong as that person was. So that it gets added to their life force. So Highlander is he's born in 1518, and he doesn't know that he's an immortal. He thinks he's just a regular guy. And he gets killed in a battle between 2 clans by a member of the other clan who turns out to be just like a hired mercenary or whatever. But that turns out to be the Kurgan. And the Kurgan is the strongest of all the of all the immortals. He's the top bad guy. It's like Luke Skywalker fighting Darth Vader at the beginning of Star Wars. So imagine Luke getting beat up and killed by Darth Vader, and then coming back to life. That's the epicness of what the scene is. So anyways, in Highlander, he comes back alive a few days later, and everybody's spooked. They don't know what's going on. How is this guy still alive? So they banish him, and he lives a few years. He finds a wife, and then Ramirez shows up. Longest name in movie cinema history. Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez, chief metallurgist to King Charles V of Spain, and he's at the Highlander service. And he's not Spanish, he's Egyptian. Anyways, he trains the Highlander, tells him who he is, and gets him ready to fight the Kurgan, which will happen at some point during the Highlander's life. Because in the end, there can be only one immortal. So, they make it to present day. I'm not going to spoil the whole movie for you. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. There's only a few immortals left. Highlander is one of them. And big battle scene at the end between him and the Kurgan. Fantastic. Fan-flippin-tastic. Queen did the soundtrack. Top 5 soundtracks of all time. Part 2. Highlander the Quickening. This came out in the end of the 80s. It might have come out very beginning of the 90s. I was so psyched to see this when it came out. But this turns out to be probably one of the worst movies ever made in the history of the human race. Skip it, delete it from your memory immediately, from what I just told you. Part 3 is called, I think it was called The Sorcerer at one time. I don't even remember if they got a new name for it, but at one point it was called The Sorcerer. And in that one, it's a little bit of a remake of the first one. Apparently there's another immortal that comes after Highlander, and this immortal's been trapped inside a mountain. So that's how they get around the fact that he's supposed to be the last one. There's a couple of other buddies with this last immortal whose name is Kane, which is awesome, played by Mario Van Peebles. And the movie's draws a lot from the first one, but it pales in comparison to the first one. That might, however, have the second best poster in the series. It's like Highlander reaching up. There's a sundial or like a clock, electricity shooting down. Pretty cool. The last one, I think it's called Endgame. I saw this when it came out, and it's about Adrian Paul's character, the other Highlander from the TV series. They kind of meet up, and you have to fight another bad guy. And what's cool about this one is Connor, he's tired of all the fighting, the Highlander. So he decides to go into hiding, and he's in like this coffin inside this place, this sanctuary. Villains come after him. He gets away somehow. Anyways, he meets Duncan MacLeod, and they have a little to-do. And then they have to fight. Because Connor knows they can't take down the bad guy one-on-one. But if Connor or Duncan can kill each other, they'll have enough power to take on the bad guy and hopefully win. So I think Bruce Payne from Passenger 57, oh my god, I hope I got this right, he plays the villain. And so the best scene in the whole movie is Connor versus Duncan. I don't think they might be fighting in a cemetery, I'm not sure. Wait, that's illegal, they can't do that because you can't fight on holy ground. There's a couple of rules. But that scene I think was the coolest. And then, I'm not going to spoil it for you who wins, but let's just say a Highlander goes up against the villain. Overall, the first movie is the best in the series and top 7 movies of all time. Part 2, the other end of the spectrum. Part 3 is a wannabe, but they try really hard, which is cool. Part 4, try really hard again, and a lot of elements from the TV show. So, watch Part 1, and that's it. And if you love it so much that you need to, skip the second one. Good God. Do not, I repeat, do not watch the second Highlander. Watch Part 3, watch Part 4, you might like them. Okay, see you next time. Who knows what we'll review then? Goodbye, Highlander.